Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth and final video of the Rhino basics for COM1. So this is just going to be a short video going over the picture frame command, which is going to become an important command in this program. And it's a little more complicated than the others, so I'm giving it its own video as well. Okay, so for the picture frame command, what it essentially is it allows you to put an image into Rhino. This is really helpful if you're using the image as a reference to draw, or you want it to look at it while you're drawing something else, and they are incredibly helpful. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer. So with that little plus icon down here or the little square icon on PC, we're going to create a new layer and we're going to call it image. Good. That's the first thing. Then we're going to select that layer as the drawing layer. So just select that little circle there to indicate that we are now drawing on the image layer. Great. Now we're going to go onto Google and I'm going to find an image to import into Rhino. And for this, I'm going to be grabbing the Catherine Mosbach diagram image. So you can get images that you have downloaded from the internet, and you can also get images that you've taken on your phone or camera. For this, I'm just going to be using a downloaded image. So I'm just going to right click on this image, go save image as, and save it to my downloads and just call it Catherine Mosbach. Oops. Good. That's downloaded. Great. I'm just going to minimize the Google window now. Okay, so now in Rhino, I'm going to use the picture frame command. So I'm going to type in picture. So it used to be called picture frame. It's now just called picture. So just ignore me. So type in picture and hit enter. Then it's going to open up your downloads folder or whichever folder you want to use. And for this, I've just put the image into my downloads folder. So I'm just going to select that image there and go open. Then it's going to ask me to draw the first corner of the picture. Now this essentially works the exact same way as the rectangle command that we explored previously. So by drawing a rectangle, you're essentially drawing a picture or a picture frame. So select the first corner of the picture, then you can see the picture appears and it's kind of getting scaled here. Select the other corner length, so just click again once you finish sizing it. And there's the image. Now I've moved an image into Rhino, which is great. Like everything else, I can select that and I can move it around. I can type in move and I can move my picture frame in any position that I want. So just pressing spacebar to remove, so repeat the previous command. I can scale the image, so I can select that point and select the top point and I can resize it. As well, and I can also scale 1D and everything like we did in the previous video as well, so I can stretch it out like that. And then just going Command Z there to undo that. So it's a really useful command. Now, because I've put it on its own layer, what I can do is I can select the red layer and I can actually lock the image layer. So now I can't move my image layer anymore. It's staying where it is. And because it's on the bottom of my layer panel, so you can see here it's underneath everything else, this means that I can draw on top of it. So these layers all sit on top of the image layer and the image layer is at the bottom. This should mean that I can draw on top of my image. So if I just select the curve tool and I zoom in, I can actually begin to trace out the line work on the image until when I'm finished. And now I can see that I've actually traced that line there. Now if I turn the image off with the light bulb, I can see that line that I've drawn just there. And I can keep doing this. So just like we did in class when we were tracing these precedents, I can actually do the same thing on Rhino, which is incredibly useful and will become more and more useful as we continue. Just like in the class as well, where we were designating individual lines as layers, I could, for example, designate these lines as the red layer. And once I'm finished drawing all of these contoured lines here, I can select another layer, so I can select the blue layer, and I can begin to trace the outline of these larger shapes here. So if I trace all this, just bear with me. And so on and so forth, and that keeps going for quite a while, I think, yeah. So I can start to trace certain elements and give them to certain layers. There's also a really cool little application of the different commands we were using before. So if I use the offset command here and I set the distance to about 5, maybe 4, I can actually offset that curve and I'll get the other side of that curve, which is pretty close to being this shape. So if I turn that off again, you can see that I'm starting to trace that image. And another little application of the previous video, so you can see here that the lines don't quite touch, whereas in the image they do stop when they meet that other line. So I can actually select the blue line and type in trim, and I can trim off the ends of these red lines here. So just that's how we start to use these tools and these commands. Yeah, so that's the basics of the picture frame command. That's going to become more and more useful. It's worth noting that if you save your Rhino file, then you'll actually need to save the image. And so if you save on one computer and you're going to another computer, you'll need to have the images as well. They're not just embedded in the program. You need to take them with you. So it's worth going to your downloads and creating a little folder called Rhino images. Oops, can't type today. And actually putting all of your images that you're using into those folders and along with the Rhino file. I'll go over quickly saving the Rhino file perhaps in another little additional video, because I realize I haven't gone over that. Anyways, that concludes the Rhino basics, and hopefully these are helpful for the rest of the semester. There'll be more videos later on more complex things, but at the moment that's the most basics of Rhino. So thanks.